How's it going, everybody? So, the Superhero Senki movie came out last week, or I guess just a few days ago, really. And, um, we kind of expected Revice to make a cameo in it, or at least have like a fight scene in it. But as a complete surprise, after the movie, they actually played a roughly 20-minute long episode 0 of Kamen Rider Revice. And since then, I've been looking through social media and message boards and all over the place, looking for information that I can find about it. And I've also had a few people kind enough to DM me on Twitter with information that they found. And also, TV Asahi has now put up their Kamen Rider Revice website. So we now have a significant amount of new information to go over about Kamen Rider Revice today. One of the biggest reveals is that in the Revice series, there is actually no character that is actually named Kamen Rider Revice. Instead, our main rider is called Kamen Rider Revice. And this second character that we've been calling the Buddy Rider so far, he is actually named Kamen Rider Vice. Now, Revi's name is Iki Igarashi, and it seems like his family owns and works at something like a hot spring or a bathhouse and spa type of thing. And it seems like Iki's family is going to be a significant focus in the series. His younger siblings seem like they're going to be main characters. He has a younger brother named Daiji and a younger sister named Sakura. And it looks like Iki is probably in like his mid-20s, and his siblings, it seems like they both might be in their like late teens. But zero mention of their parents at all. So it's looking like they may not be characters in the series, or at least not yet. It's possible that they're just like working abroad or something like that. But it's also possible, being Kamen Rider, that something happened to them and the kids are orphans. But yeah, and with Kamen Rider Vice, his civilian form, I think, is just called Vice. But yeah, his civilian form is apparently the black and blue form that was on the Superhero Senki movie poster. And in that form, he is some kind of like non-corporeal, intangible, spirit-like being. And the official description even refers to him as a demon or a devil, depending on your translation. But yeah, it says that Iki has made some sort of contract with Vice in order to protect his family from the series villain group. And because of that, Vice has become sort of bound to Iki, and is able to or has to live inside of his body. But from what I'm understanding, it's not like a possession sort of deal. It's just he's kind of just haunted by Vice. Now, one thing I did see is that Vice is actually not able to enter the bathhouse where the family works, and I'm guessing that's probably where they live as well. So, no, it's possible that Vice may just always have to stay outside, or it's possible that he may have to like stay inside of Iki's body while he's in the bathhouse. But it's definitely sounding like the bathhouse is holy grounds or something. Although some of the other stuff about the series is making it seem more sci-fi than fantasy, so it's possible that maybe Vice is just something that they're calling a demon, but he actually, it's some sort of sci-fi explanation, and then there's some other explanation for why he can't enter the bathhouse. But while I am on the topic of Vice, I do feel like I have to take just a moment to, talk about something a bit more serious here, which normally I don't talk about behind the scenes stuff, like with the actors and cast and all that, because normally that side of things just it's not of interest to me, and it also it just kind of feels weird to talk about real people on this. But this is something that it's so serious it can't be ignored, and it has to be acknowledged. Which I'm sure a lot of you listening to this have probably already heard about this. But if this is your first time hearing about it, I'm sorry to break it to you. Subaru Kimura, who is Vice's voice actor, he has a history of blatantly racist behavior. I don't know if I can really even talk details about what he's done, without, or at least not without YouTube, making me put some sort of like content warning on this video, because they have like the bot that looks for words to flag. But to put it simply, he's done just some bad stuff that honestly should have been career ending, and it clearly hasn't been. And obviously, his involvement in the series, it's going to sour it for a lot of people. I can imagine that there's going to be quite a few people who, either skip Revice or even drop Kamen Rider entirely because of this, and I honestly don't blame them. And please don't try to make excuses for this guy. I mean, like, don't think you're somehow defending Kamen Rider by defending him. You know, racism is racism. It can't be excused, and it is awful that Toei is continuing to hire this guy after everything he's done. And as far as, feeling the need to defend Kamen Rider, I think that, it means more to people than what one racist idiot is going to be able to damage anyway. And to that same extent, even just the character of Vice, who, that character is bigger than just his voice actor. There is a whole team of people behind this character, and there's even more than one person, betraying Vice. Vice also has a suit actor, but then there's also all the people, possibly teams of people who designed and or crafted all of Vice's suits, and then like all of the stunt coordinators, all of the writers that write his dialogue. There's whole teams of people behind this character, and it's so much bigger than just this one idiot. And I'm sure like all of the other people on this team working on Vice, I'm sure they're all, or most of them are decent people. And to that same extent, don't harass other, actors, cast, and Toei crew members over this one guy. Just harass the one guy. Or, well, I'm not saying harass anybody, but for legal reasons. But yeah, like definitely don't harass people that don't have anything to do with this. Like, there's people who aren't even affiliated directly with Toei that I've seen being harassed already because of this. And there's just no need for it. Um, But yeah, I think that is all I really should say on this. Um, if you're going to learn more about this, there's better sources of information on it than I am. And if you're watching this video when it's new, there's plenty about it on Twitter right now. Like I've been seeing like the Legion of Boom and their members, posting and retweeting a lot of stuff. So I would think that that might be a pretty good place to start. But trying to move on to a lighter subject. Let's talk about fictional bad guys. So the villain group of the Revice series, they're going to be called the Dead Mans. So just Dead Man with an S. I'm not sure if that's supposed to be like plural or possessive, or I mean, it may even be spelled with a Z. But we're not going to know until there's any sort of like official romanization. But their official description is that they are an organization that worships demons and is devoted to drawing out these demons from inside human beings. And these demons are, they're going to be the monsters of the series, and they are called Dead Man. Which I think it's fairly clear that Vice is probably one of these Dead Man creatures. It sounds pretty similar. And the way that these Dead Man monsters are created, a human apparently has, or a human with malicious intent, apparently has to use what's called a VI stamp, just VI stamp, on themselves, and that will summon the dead man next to them. And, of course, Vi is the first half of Vice's name. So that seems like a pretty clear connection there. And then with see, where am I? Yeah, in the episode 0, apparently there a dead man monster appeared. I'm getting conflicting information on whether it was spider themed or bat themed, but either way, that confirms that the dead men are going to have animal motifs. So that appeared in episode 0, and it sounds like they're also going to have like some foot soldiers, which they were described as zombie skeleton dinosaur men. And there was also a mention of a character who, again, I'm getting like conflicting information on this. It was a dinosaur man, and they were either wearing a white cloak or a white coat. And a white coat immediately makes me think of, a lab coat. But, and it says that character appeared in episode 0 and gave a Vice stamp to a civilian who, then used it to summon the monster of the episode. So sounds like we have a villain who is distributing the series link item to seemingly random people in order to create more monsters. And the TV Asahi website mentions that the Dead Man's executive is named, it's either Orteka or Olteka, but it's possible that that's the same character, but we don't know for sure yet. And there's also more information about the writer system for the show. For one thing, we have confirmation that Revice Belt is in fact called the Revice Driver. And it seems that it does transform him and Vice at the same time. And we also found out from the TV Aussie website that the developer of the Revice writer system is somebody named Joji Karasaki. And it seems like he may have some connection to this place called Phoenix Labs. And it's Phoenix is spelled weird. It's spelled Fenix in all caps. And I don't know if that's supposed to be an acronym or not, but and I think the Dead Man's attacked it. They attacked Phoenix Labs in the episode 0, and I think it was stated that Phoenix Labs is some sort of genetic research institute. But now, as for the stamps, like I said, the ones that are used to create the Dead Man are called Vice stamps, and that may be what all of the stamps are called, but we don't have confirmation of that so far. Like I said, the Vice stamps may just be the evil variety that sort of like the difference between Wonder Ride books and Ultra Ride books, like we've had this year. They showed I think 3 stamps in episode 0: the T-Rex stamp, the Pterodactyl stamp, and the Megalodon stamp. So the shark-based stamp from the last video that I showed, that has now been confirmed to specifically be a Megalodon instead of just a generic shark. And apparently in episode 0, Daiji is actually the one who gives Iki the Megalodon stamp. So it seems like Daiji is going to have something to do with either creating or modifying the stamps so that Revice can use them. And I was seeing something earlier about him having a cactus-based stamp, but now I'm seeing that everything else I'm seeing is suggesting that may have been some sort of mistranslation. But yeah, for the T-Rex stamp, it of course allows Revice and Vice to assume their base form, which I believe is going to be called Revice Rex and Vice Rex. And for Vice, of course, it before changing him, it makes him take it turns him into like a solid physical being, and then it transforms him. But as far as their powers in their base forms go, it sounds like Revice is able to like enlarge his legs, sort of like what Zuo Elephant could do in Zoojr. And that lets him do like, super high jumps and super strong kicks, pretty standard, Kamen Rider base form stuff. And then Vice in his Rex form is able to enlarge his tail and do tail slams. And he can apparently also breathe fire. But I don't know if that's specific to his Rex form or if that's just a power he always has because he's a demon or something like that. Now, the Pterodactyl stamp, it functioned pretty uniquely from the sound of it. When it was used, it apparently only transformed Vice, and it actually transformed him into a pterodactyl-themed hover glider, which is, from the sound of things, maybe the Revice's main vehicle for the series. I don't know if it's going to also have like a bike mode, or Revice just may not have a motorcycle at all. And likewise, I also don't know if Vice is also going to have a humanoid pterodactyl form. But there is a rumor that Revice is also going to have like a pterodactyl base transformation with that same stamp. But no, that's kind of a surprise to me because I saw the phone item on the toy list, and so I was kind of expecting that to be the bike. But this is sounding like just the pterodactyl stamp is going to transform into the hover glider that goes with the action figures. So now I'm kind of wondering what the gimmick with the phone item is maybe going to be. But and for the Megalodon stamp, it actually did trigger a transformation for both Revi and Vice. And Revi, his transformation heavily resembles Kamen Rider Decade. So that is kind of finally our proof that the overall motif of the Revice series is going to be like a animals and Legend Rider theme. Although, according to some of the rumors, it could be just Legend Riders and just animals in general, with just a lot of prehistoric animals mixed in. But yeah, rumors I'm going to be looking at for in a different video. But yeah, and with Revi's form changed, it changed out a lot of his armor parts. The armor on his upper torso, shoulders, forearms, shins, and his helmet were all switched out, and he got like these blades on his gauntlets. But weirdly, his color scheme didn't really change that much at all. It looks like he maybe got some like new like white lines on like the decayed looking parts of the armor, and then of course his eye color changed from red to green, but that's basically all it was. And with Vice, it looks like at least his hood and the symbol on his chest changed. I can't really tell right now if the rest of his armor changed at all. It looks pretty much the same to me. And as far as the powers of this transformation goes, I haven't heard too much, but for the finisher attack, apparently Revi and Vice like combine into like a giant megalodon, and which people are saying that when they did that, it resembled one of Kamen Rider Cade's Final Form rides. Of course, I haven't seen the movie, so I can't speak to that. But yeah, that's pretty much all the info to cover from the movie release. I think I'm going to wrap this video up here. This one was a bit heavier than I was expecting it to be. Yeah, I think the next video I'm probably going to go over kind of where things are as far as with what we know now, comparing it to the confirmed toy lists, going back and looking at the older rumors that are, before we were thinking, it sounded really fake, but now that the motif's been confirmed, or, it's being looked at again, is like, there may have been something to that. So, be on the lookout for that. I hope, hopefully the news hasn't brought you down too much. And honestly, if you need to vent, YouTube comments is a good place for that. But I won't tolerate any racism down there. If I see that you're getting blocked or whatever, immediately. But yeah, try and have a good week, people.